Today I'm joined by Lyosi Mwedekeli, Managing Director of Hachiri 360, to speak about the work of Hachiri 360 and the larger 360 scene in Nairobi and in the region. Lyosi is a design entrepreneur who was brought up in the UK and has lived in Kenya since 2005, who's looking to make VR in Kenya affordable, practical, and everyday with various use cases. Welcome, Lyosi. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, Nyambura.
Yeah, and also maybe that we should tell the audience that we were supposed to have this conversation earlier this week, and then somebody did not see the email, and then somebody else was like, "Are we still on?" And I was like, "Ah!" Anyway, but we're living in strange times where scheduling is, an art to itself. So I'm so happy we are finally here, and so. We spoke about this a little bit before we started the official conversation, but please speak to us about how Hachiri 360 came to be. It was a pretty interesting story, and I told you, please switch on the recorder, so go for it.
Oh, yes. So Hutchery 360 is a collective of filmmakers, and we actually congregated. We came together around 2017. There was a place called the Alchemist, and the Alchemist is it was actually called the Yard, and it was like an adult playground. It was a watering hole. It was if you go on safari, you find animals congregating around a watering hole, zebras and such. This was like that. It was like that, but for artists. So this was the first time it felt like a Kenyan Renaissance when the Alchemist opened. It was the first time where I think when you look at the history of Kenya, you look at, I even moved to Kenya in 2005 after Moi moved on, and we started to have multi-party politics and such. And I felt as though when the Alchemist opened, it was like a new phase of freedom, of how artistic, I think there was a lot of artistic suppression. And if you look at the education system, how arts was removed from the syllabus, it felt as though there was a lot of pent up and built up energy. And that when the Alchemist opened was when everybody came together, and we came in to capture some of that. So there was a music studio at the Alchemist, and we would capture a lot of live streams and live events happening outside the music studio. And the whole festival culture, we would take it upon ourselves to do independent just interviews and live broadcasting, and trying to merge great sound and cool visuals using really independent equipment. And that's where we started out as just Hutchery, and then we evolved to Hutchery 360. So Hutchery 360 was when we started to experiment with 360 cameras, and what we actually do is live broadcasting in 360 in VR. So that's what now our kind of specialization, but it evolved from just being dynamic. And first, virtual reality was something which really it came out of nowhere almost. I think I got it as a Christmas present I got the Oculus Rift as a Christmas present in 2017. I just gifted myself, and for me it was one of the most amazing tools that I was lucky to get my hands on, and I had to bring it in from USA. And little by little we started to get more knowledge of 360 cameras, and by 2018 we were started to live stream in 360, and some artists would come to the Alchemist, and Young Paris came to the Alchemist, and it was the first time we were able to live stream and put graphics on the live stream to say who Young Paris is. If you turn the camera, you can see the audience. Turn the camera, you can see the artist on stage, and it was like a dream coming into reality for us. So as a collective, some of the members we've kind of come and gone, but we're still a strong spine, and we're still producing content till now as Hutchery 360. And with time, we were like, okay, this is cool. We like 360. We like the fact we can watch it on our Facebook, on our mobile. We can turn the screen, but what's beyond that? So we really started to look at virtual reality boxes and the Google Cardboard and affordable ways in which you can watch virtual reality besides the Oculus Rift, which was quite a big setup for me. The first couple of years of having Oculus Rift, I could barely use it myself. I had to, because the computers that it involves. So I had to call out to some friends to use their work computers in order to use my Oculus Rift. And I found it quite difficult to explain what 360 is when I couldn't even power up my 360 kit. So when I came across the Google Cardboard and more affordable solutions, I was like, this is fantastic, because I can get across the full image of what I want to do, and everybody can watch it because it's affordable. So yeah, we've really been taking a deep dive into practical uses of virtual reality, and yeah, and also just recordings of shows, and we've had a really a great time doing this. And what we ended up with is our virtual reality box getting delivered. It got delivered to us during the pandemic. So this is our Hutchery 360 box. It came in mid-April, and yeah, really excited about this. It's called the Masai edition. So it comes with a Masai head strap. I'm so excited about this. So the material that goes around your head is actually from Kenya. So it's very much it makes you feel at home in VR, and in that's something that we want to pass on. That, hey, VR has a home here in Africa, and yeah, it's been embraced, and we're looking forward to spread to this as many people, so we can they can also embrace VR and see it as a new wave in culture. Coming from, as I said, from where we began, The Alchemist, we always felt as though we're making new culture, just being around such an artistic renaissance. So to actually solidify it into something like this is like a dream come true.
Yeah, and actually that's something I've been interested about coming into this conversation, because I was wondering what the process was for making, your particular headset, and especially considering that this is something that has been delivered in the middle of a really strange time. Have you had a chance to test it with audiences, and how have they reacted?
So actually, to test with audiences, that's been the main challenge during this whole pandemic. First thing, the intention was to be recording live events, as I mentioned, but when live events are not happening with any frequency or regularity or any schedule, it then becomes a little bit more difficult. So you have to change strategies a little bit, and it's good because it sent us to the drawing board. It sent us to the development room, where we've been now making other use cases and applications that the box can work with apart from live broadcasting. So we've been looking more into other things like virtual shopping, which is something that people need right now, rather than live broadcasting. And so yeah, it's actually just made us be more ingenuitive, and so in order to test with people, we've been testing amongst friends, family, sending out to people who are in media circles, people who need to be influenced. The future of a lot of our the influencers in the media need to kind of see where VR is and where VR is going, and how portable it can be. That we don't need big machines in order to run VR. We just need a mobile phone and a little bit of curiosity. So yeah, we've launched our app during this pandemic period. So our app is an Android application. At the moment, we don't support iOS, but eventually, before in the next few months, we'll be knocking out an iOS. But we're really happy to get an app out, and our app works in a really unique way. Some of it I want to share with you today. So it actually makes the box both AR and VR. So the goggles work as virtual reality, but the artwork on the box works in augmented reality. So I don't know if you had a question about augmented reality, or whether I'm just going in that direction.
I did, and so I love such conversations where you sort of preempt my question. So yeah, please, because the thing I've been interested in is like your work in AR and volumetric capture and all of that. So this is it. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so I work in AR and volumetric capture. So one of the best things about the Oculus Rift, it's a fantastic 3D modeling headset. So the first thing I got into when I got my virtual reality headset was not gaming or was not interactivity. It was actually sculpting. So sculpting is where you are able to use something called you're able to make something in 3D that did not exist before, and you're able to manipulate it into shapes and patterns and duplicate it and build a 3D model in a virtual space, and that's what sculpting is. So I've been practicing on sculpting and wondering how can we use some of those sculpts as 3D projections. And we found that this box has so much space on it. We call it real estate for augmented reality experiences. So what we did, we put very strong patterns on the box, very strong patterns. And these patterns are, because they're all kind of unique from each other, we can use a camera phone to track some of those as augmented reality. So the camera phone can recognize, oh, the front is different to the left, is different to the right. So in that case, I can use a 3D projection on the front. I can use a different 3D projection on the left. I can use a different 3D projection on the right. And in doing that, it's gotten out a lot of our sculpting concepts that we had. So maybe I might have had an artistic night where we were like, oh, there's a zebra. How can we make a zebra in 3D? So we'd spend some time on the computer sculpting a zebra in 3D. But it's okay being on the computer, but now how can we get that into a place that people can see and interact with? So then we decided to make the box augmented reality on the outside, on the skin, and it gets out our full spectrum of our creativity. And it's something which we've been able to build different projects. So we have one project called Vipi AR. Vipi is a Swahili word. And with Vipi AR, we've been making kind of an introduction to Kenya. So we put a map of Kenya on one side of the box. And on the other side of the box, we did an augmented landscape of the Masai Mara. So we've actually tried to recreate the Great Migration in the Mara, but in an augmented reality. So we've done motion graphics and static landscapes, and we mixed the two together. So when you look at the box in augmented reality, what you're seeing is animals crossing the Mara River between the Masai Mara and the Serengeti. But the whole thing is all made from 3D models and sculpting and motion graphics. So this is really where you find virtual experiences wowing people, because virtual reality with the goggles is one experience, but augmented reality, because it's using a mobile phone in a way that most people have never experienced before, it's very powerful. So we're really happy that the box is able to handle both, and our app that we've been able to develop is also able to move between augmented reality and virtual reality, and it's very exciting to us. And also our app gets to show people that you can use YouTube in a whole different way that you didn't know before. Yeah, that YouTube is also made for immersive experiences, and most people during this whole pandemic period, YouTube has now become a part of their daily lives. Everybody's looking out. Some podcasts have stopped running on Spotify and now just running on YouTube because it's a big enough audience. So it's an app that most people have on their devices. So if we can extend our if we can extend their usage of YouTube into from 2D to immersive, it's a really nice bridge that people can cross. So we're here to just help people cross that bridge on their immersive journeys, and yeah, we absolutely love headset VR, which is more to do with Oculus Rift and such. But we always feel as though those are kind of high-end experiences, and if we want to take VR to as many places and parts of the continent which are not in urban areas, and where people their primary device is their mobile phone, then we feel as though this box is a really nice way of showing those audiences who don't have the most powerful computers, and we're still showing them a way that they can, how virtual reality can benefit them and augmented reality can benefit them, and interpret a more futuristic Kenya that maybe they didn't know existed, but maybe one day they can have a great voice in that new arena. So yeah, I'm really excited that we can show you this and share this with you. And yeah, maybe during and after this pandemic, we can show as many people as possible.
And speaking of the pandemic, which I think comes up in every conversation we have these days, like casual conversation,
Yeah.
pandemic. I think it's compelled audiences to seek out entertainment in a very different way. I feel like, especially people who, for instance, love film, have been having all of these conversations about how, I miss going out to watch a film with the homies, or I miss going out to a theater by myself to watch a movie and all of that. And so I'm interested in how this particular time has affected the universe of AR or VR content, and the way it's affected how audiences interact with your content. Because as you're saying, we are stuck at home, we are turning to YouTube and so on and so forth. Have you seen like a noticeable change in the way people are interacting with AR or VR content?
Yeah, so we have a back catalogue of concerts and virtual experiences, and we're hoping that back catalogue will carry us through this kind of tough time. And that back catalogue is also, we love the images and the visuals and the amount of detail that's in there, and we're hoping that we can use that to show people in the meanwhile what some of the potential is in terms of video, and yeah, that people can embrace that and ask for more, so that when it's time for us to break out and to return to a normal schedule, that it's something that we would be demanded rather than before we would be imposing. Oh, can we put a camera at your show? Can we put your camera at a show? Trying to make exclusive content negotiations, but now hopefully we'll be being chased in order to cover people's events. So yeah, we're trying to use this time to exhibit, and so hopefully later we can be more of a force in the industry and get as much access as possible, because we want to see everything in 360 if it will be a possibility. And we've taken the time to work on some of our post-production, so when we come back we're more like the same way a TV station would present to you their work, with really cool smooth transitions, and during a live broadcast we want to come back with that same energy, that we've shown growth, we've shown new ways of showing more content and sponsors, and a really great space to plug your brand. So we've done quite a lot of work during this time, and hopefully people will appreciate that when things open up again. But definitely this time has been a great thing for entertainment in 3D. So I have been looking at a lot more interactive experiences, and how movies and film and it's evolving. It's evolving to the point where in the past we would just be watching a video that we can't make any choices about the outcome of that video. But with 360 and virtual reality, we can decide where we want to look. We can also decide what we want to watch, because there are so many different interactive commands that you can choose. You know, you can choose your character. You can choose the item. You can pick up an item using a virtual button. So these are things that we can't do currently in a normal 2D flat video. So I'm super excited as to how this will evolve into the future of entertainment. And there are so many around the world. There are other applications which inspire me as a Hachiri creative. So there's an app called Wave, and Wave, amazing artists like John Legend and Tinashe have been doing concerts during this pandemic on Wave for their fans, and they're using things like motion capture and motion capture suits to create a digital impression of who John Legend is. So it's still John Legend, but he's an animated character, and he's an animated character playing piano in a space that doesn't exist. You know, they're able to build virtual concert venues. So we want the same capacity to be able to live stream in the same capacity a virtual concert venue, so we can add a little bit more character to the shows we're watching right now. So if we can add that same character to local musicians who are here in Africa that we can reach out to, it will just be the next advancement. So we're, you know, taking in a whole lot of this emerging energy and emerging technology and hoping to throw it right back to our viewers. And I hope our viewers get to see some evolution as we go into 2021. And yeah, volumetric, I think you mentioned the word volumetric capture. So this is kind of a new way of seeing things. If you didn't know, Microsoft, they bought a company called Skype a few years ago. And Skype, they're just like Zoom, they're a communication platform. And I think one of the reasons why they bought out Skype is because they're thinking, okay, so we're one of the richest tech companies in history, but where is communication going? We watch movies like Star Wars, and somebody pulls up something and it's a hologram popping out of their arm. Or R2D2 used to just from his head, he used to have like a display which would create a hologram right in front of him. So is this a reality that will ever come to be? And I think that's where volumetric comes in. And it actually says, yes, this is a reality, and yes, this can be done in 2020. So we've been looking at these kind of emergent technologies. Instead of seeing them on an incredible scale that's unaffordable, how can we scale it down to us as a small studio with, our studio is literally 4 meters by 5 meters. So how can we do really cool holograms on a small scale? And yeah, we've been able to find the equipment that will give us that extra new look. And besides that, learning the programming so we can make it into something like a broadcast that you're already used to, so we can incorporate it into a broadcast that you're already used to, or that one that we've already started to establish. And instead of it being such a faraway idea, how can we bring the holographic model kind of universe right here in front of us? And how do we use it in AR on our box? So let's say we're doing a safari. How can we make a safari guide pop up in AR on the box, and we can watch the safari guide giving us a full explanation, you know? And we're seeing the front, the back, and a complete 3D render, but as a hologram explaining to us what makes Kenya so great. So these are emerging technologies that we're embracing, and we're hoping to have a really strong platform so that you, the viewers, can watch it with some frequency.
I love when I speak to people who are just like, let me answer all of your questions, because yeah, it makes speaking to you so interesting and also very rewarding. So one of the things I've observed is that Hatchery 360 has done some work in commercial settings, and I'm curious about how that's how well the technology has been accepted in these settings. And part of the reason I'm asking that is that part of this immersive Juakali offering is also getting a sense of what you're getting into if you're interested in AR or VR or 360 and so on and so forth. So tell us how, what the reception has been like. And I'm also going to
Has been
ask
like,
you about Afropoa right after, but just talk to us generally
okay,
what the reception has
VR in commercial settings. So we've had a bit of success in the commercial arena as well, because besides for what we've been selling the boxes and we've been showing people our brand and our content, but sometimes people are so excited about it. They're like, okay, how can we use that for our company? So a lot of the commercial deals that we've had so far have been on based on and people really just being curious as to what we're doing and how it can be used for their company. So one of those has been, let's say there's a hotel, a resort in Watamu, a really beautiful resort with 100+ rooms, and it has its own private beach. And we were invited there to go and create a virtual tour. So a virtual tour enables someone to either go online or let's say what they wanted themselves as clients was for them to be able to sell their hotel and also sell their timeshare in their hotel, but in their office in Nairobi. Because prior to this, they were paying for people. Let's say you were interested in owning some timeshare in their hotel, they would have to fly you to Malindi, keep you in the hotel for 3-4 nights, and then you would say, "Oh, I want to buy it," or "I don't want to buy it." So instead of them bearing that cost of hosting the visitor, what they decided to do was do a virtual tour. So we kept some virtual reality headsets in their office in Nairobi. So every visitor who would want to know more about the hotel, they'd put on the virtual reality headset and they would start with a drone image. So they can see the entire hotel in 360 through the headset, but from a drone perspective. So they can see the entire hotel down here. They can choose whether they want to go to the swimming pool or go to the restaurant, whether they want to go to the room or go to the bar. So it's such a big dynamic image, and it introduces the viewer to the entire complex and the scale. And after that, they can make a choice. And we filmed sequences and we took photos of the entire establishment. So we were really happy to have taken some models, a model family, to different areas in the hotel where they got to, and we got to film their experiences in these different areas in the hotel. And what ended up happening, we had a launch, and at the launch, we had 60 people at the launch. So they were excited to see what VR tours for hotels would be like. So we had a nice audience, and we got to share around the three VR headsets. Everybody got to see what the hotel was like in 3D, and they're still using it at this hotel till now. So that was very worthwhile as a commercial project. It gave us the experience of creating virtual tours, and some of it's online at the moment. If you type the One Resort Watamu into YouTube and you click 360 under the special searches, advanced searches, just go to 360 and you'll see some of that hotel and what we captured. Apart from virtual tours, we've also been looking at virtual housing. So the real estate market is obviously going to continue to keep moving as Kenya develops, and there's so many new properties coming up, and some of them are of a really high standard. So 360 is an emerging technology, and it's been there probably in this industry for the longest. Real estate is probably how it's been 360s. It started out with 360 photos. It's been there since the early 2000s. Now we're moving more into 360 video and also into something called photogrammetry. So what we do is blend 360 photos, 360 video, and photogrammetry into one web link. So we're able to deliver a web link that, let's say, a real estate agent can send the web link to one of their clients, and the moment the client clicks through in their mobile, they're able to see a virtual tour in which they can turn to any part of the house. They can travel to any part of the house. So it's a much richer experience than sending someone photos of what the apartment looks like, because you can't hide anything. Everything is there we're giving a full exposure. Everything's there for people to see and decide whether it's the right house for them, the right property for them. So we use various kind of technologies and platforms. But yeah, so virtual reality for real estate has been another business which is probably has a lot more potential and will continue to grow, and we continue to service. But it also led us to something called photogrammetry, which is actually a combination of taking photographs in order to build up a 3D image. So one thing I've been doing with my drone is above my house, I have flown a drone, and instead of just taking a photo, I would take 150 photos of this house and the surrounding neighborhood. So what those 150 photos do, when you put them into the computer calculates them all together and says, okay, so these are the pictures of the front of the house, these are the pictures of the side, this is the pictures of the back, this is the pictures of the front. And it builds a 3D composite into a full 3D model of the house and the surroundings. So the advantage of that is it builds an augmented reality map. And that map has so many purposes. It can be used for surveillancing. It can be used to show the height, the gradient, the depth of the hills on a landscape, and all of this is vital information for in the sales process, in the development process. So VR and augmented reality, virtual reality can be used in so many ways, and just by using an ordinary camera, we can, as long as we understand the computational potential, we can turn an ordinary thing into virtual reality. We can turn an ordinary thing into augmented reality. So we're not limited by our equipment. You don't need a VR camera in order to make a VR experience. You just need to change your perspective more than even your hardware. So we're trying to, these are the reasons why we moved from Hutchery to Hutchery 360, because it's a growth in perspective. So now we're seeing things in a very VR 360 way with lots of screen potential to make people like you happy. Yeah, so we've really been happy with the growth in emerging technology on both the development level and also the exposure level. Yeah.
So speaking of this growth, you have a site, afropower.com/XR, where it's like a one-stop shop for your offering. And I'm curious about what reception you've had, but also what possibilities you think exist for, the making of immersive technology tools in Kenya and on the continent, in terms of creation, prototyping, testing out ideas, and all of that stuff. So.
Okay, so you mentioned afropower.com/XR, which is an experience that we've been developing, which means more so, okay, so afropower.com/XR, it's a way of taking an ordinary website into a virtual shop. So you enter the web link just like any other shop, but it actually opens up a complete 360 window into a shop. So what we've been able to do is build 360 runway experiences that work inside this. Also by panning the page, you can also see some photogrammetry of the clothes. So just like photogrammetry of clothes is just like when you are playing a game like FIFA and you're seeing Cristiano Ronaldo, and Cristiano Ronaldo is a digital version of himself, but it looks exactly like Cristiano Ronaldo. So this is things that we've been doing within fashion, and the website allows us to show that we can take African made in Kenya fashion and present it in a 3D landscape. So for us, this is the first that we had to, it's a step that we had to show. And hopefully we can be making something similar for as many brands as possible, taking 3D captures of their work and such. And but for me, the most exciting part was a 360 runway show. And it's something that I want to be watching a lot more, in which you're seeing a runway show, but you can turn the camera in on this runway show. So after the person has walked past you, you can see them from the back, you can see them from the front as they're walking towards you. There's also like picture-in-picture video. So when we did the live stream for the 360 runway, you can also see an ordinary video camera, which is filming that ordinary perspective, as well as the 360 that we've been building. So I really love the 360 runway show. I want to be seeing more of them. Hopefully we can be part of runway shows as the world starts to reopen, so we can get a little bit more of that. But yeah, the 360 store, it's something that we're proud of as Hutchery 360 to be a part of. Now, yeah, so the greatest thing about the virtual shop is that it gives the website more stick-to-itiveness, right? So when someone lands on that web page, he'll be on that web page, or she will be on that web page for an extended length of time. And if it's their first time of seeing 360 or VR, it will also create a greater brand impression, because you're giving someone a first time experience. On top of that, they're there for 15 to 20 minutes, rather than if I was on a traditional website, I would see your clothes. If I'm not interested, I'll be out of the website within 2 minutes. But now there's an extra pull factor, there's an extra curiosity factor. There are all these kind of new waves that we're bringing through. So it just gives the website stick-to-itiveness. So yeah, the virtual reality shopping it's an area which has so much potential. So we decided as Hachiri 360, we do love filmmaking, but more so we want to, if we want to give 360 longevity, we need to be giving people more practical use cases. So if it means real estate, virtual shopping, virtual tourism through virtual tours, these are quite diverse ways in using VR and using affordable VR boxes, rather than making it an exhibit tool, which exhibits are limited to the number of days the exhibit's going on for. But this is a take-home tool that you can use in 3-4 different ways.
And I think that's a thing that you have in common with even more traditional filmmakers, like people who make film, art house films or whatever, have always also had to do commercial work, you know, like to get by, but that commercial work acts as a site for testing out ideas and figuring things out and trying.
Can I mention that? Because even I was reading an article about Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, he's made so many amazing, massive films, even Gladiator, and he's worked with every actor out there. But Ridley Scott, he said more than 200 commercials in his time. We wouldn't know he doesn't have his name there, but he's just as proud of his commercial work as he was about his creative work. You know, it makes sure that he doesn't have a downtime. It keeps him mentally active. So those creative works are things that you aspire to, that you project for, you know, but the commercial work is stuff that keeps you active every day, And yeah, those revenues that come through the financing of projects like that, they can help your creative work massively. It helps you go and buy those bigger cameras which are needed to make cinematic via virtual reality experiences. Because when we're talking about cinematic virtual reality, either you're making your own camera or you're buying something off the shelf, which could be very pricey. So the creative filmmaking process is something which we want to delve more into. We're already building the infrastructure so we can make some amazing creative narratives and stories and films that we can host as our own studio or incubate others as filmmakers into our studio so we can make a combined project. But equally, the commercial projects for right now, they've been keeping us afloat and giving us more ways of exhibiting our current work. You know, so if we can exhibit well for a commercial project, it means we can also virtually exhibit well for our own projects. So so that we're not limited to an exhibit that has a specific date and time and you know, it's only running for a few days. We can exhibit online and it's there forever. So we've been looking into things like, if we do make a storytelling video in VR, we'd like to make it pay-per-view. You know, we'd like to, maybe you subscribe to it so that the content can be accessed and it has a purchase value, so we can recoup the outlay for that creative project. So yeah, the hosting things online it's important to our distribution, and yeah, excited.
You've touched on this a little bit, but maybe speak to us a little bit more about, you know, like the, I'm sorry, we live in a society, this noise in the background, but the possibility of making AR or VR tools in Kenya or on the continent generally, like in terms of creation or prototyping. And this is something that I feel you can uniquely speak to, having, you know, made a headset and all of those things. Like what is the landscape like? Like if I'm thinking of making this sort of hardware, for instance, do I have
Yeah.
to whoops, you know?
hmm So we've actually been looking at how can we make virtual reality headsets here in Kenya. Is it possible? So we found two different solutions to that. One of those is making cardboard headsets like this one and making them from recycled cardboard and such. And we have industries here that can make that. We make toothpaste boxes, we make pizza boxes right here in Kenya. We don't need to import it. So why can't we make virtual reality cardboards made in Kenya and accessible to people here? And it should drive down the prices as well. Just to make sure that the only thing that is important is the durability of the box. And we like the cardboard because I've been using my cardboard for more than 2 years as a prototype, and we moved from that into making them. We got them, these ones here, we got them printed in USA. So as we sell each one we sell, we're accumulating enough revenue so that we can invest that into making made in Kenya virtual reality headsets. So that is one step that we're excited about, and we do not want to miss that. We want to make sure that we can make 10,000 of these boxes, so we can create 10,000 people having experiences locally, if it's in Nairobi or Greater Kenya. Another solution we've been looking at for kind of more affordable VR is you might go to a shop like Miniso where they're selling virtual reality headsets, but they're made from plastic, which is obviously more durable than the cardboard. But equally, the cardboard gives us a great space for augmented reality experiences with the printed artwork, whereas using plastic kind of takes away from that because we can't create those augmented experiences in the plastic because tracking and different camera limitations. So in that case, we still, even though we're not really pursuing it the plastic so much, we've also found a source where what they're doing 3D printing, and they're making 3D prints using recycled containers. So recycled Coca-Cola bottles, recycled, and the great thing is it doesn't need to go to a recycling plant. Everything's done on site. So you see them with huge piles of water bottles, and they're able to strip those water bottles and remold them into a 3D printing machine. So we already have the customized 3D printed assets. So we're able to make affordable virtual reality headsets made of plastic, which are, which, as I said, you can find them in stores all around the world. But the ones that we can make here are 100% made from recycled. It's a byproduct of recycled goods. So we're excited to have these two unique deliverables, which are both which can both work for virtual reality as headsets, and both of them are completely made from recycled goods. So yeah, that's such a great prospect for us. So what we need is more content so that you guys can demand more productions from our studio, so that at the end of the day, you can have really great experiences inside the VR, and you could be ordering the VR headsets from us. Yeah, so we have those solutions.
And speaking of content, I'm curious about what advice you'd offer people who are looking to make content or hardware in this space, within our particular context. Like, it's so exciting for me to hear that we're going to be able to make something fairly green, like something recycled and locally made and so on. So I'm interested in what you would tell someone who's interested in getting into making content or hardware in this space, because you've been at it for a while. So
okay, so definitely if you're going to be making content for VR, try your best. Apart from the camera that you have to record the content, try your best to use things like rigs, so that traditionally most people using taking 360 videos, they'll have some type of mini tripod that they're holding in their hands, so we're seeing them in the video at the same time. What we've tried to do is move away so it's not in our hands, so that we can put it on a stage. We can use the same camera, but we can rig it into different situations. So when we were filming Madoni Drummer Queen, for example, we put multi-cameras, we put 2 360 cameras on the stage. So we put one in front of her on the stage, and we put another one up to the left above the stage, so that we can see the entire crowd and you still see her on stage. So this is one thing I would recommend. Apart from getting the camera, also look, how can I position the camera so that I can get the most professional perspective. So that's one thing. I'd also promote people who fly drones. Why don't you put a 360 camera on your drone? Kenya is such a beautiful country that we have to be capturing as much perspective. If we can make this as modern as possible, and I feel the 360 camera is a super modern perspective. So I encourage every drone filmmaker to also create one of these rigs. We make these rigs. We 3D print these rigs where you can put your 360 camera, attach it to the bottom of your drone. Yeah, so these are ways that these are contents that I would love to be seeing people submit to me. And the more content submissions we get from the general public, the more content we have to show the public as well. So we'd like to incubate people's works. It would be amazing if we can collaborate with as many aspiring filmmakers as possible, as many content producers as possible, to be submitting their work to us. And yeah, hopefully we can all gain some popularity, of make 360 and VR very popular, and not only for our namesake, not only for our studio, but even give people all the credits they deserve. So yeah, getting content from the general public, it would be amazing. In the past, I've been part of some media organizations. There's one called GAFLA I was a part of, and we would get a lot of content from the general public. So I know how powerful that is in expanding your platform. And definitely, we see ourselves as that kind of 360 company. There are two different types of 360. There's stereoscopic and there's monoscopic. So stereoscopic, it's a little more expertise, and you won't get general submissions from people who are, you know, consumer level VR. You won't get that from in stereoscopic, but you will get that within monoscopic. So that's how we present to people. We present to people monoscopic, something that the consumer can be familiar with. So for me, that is an advantage for us, because that means we can reach millions of people who are here on the continent. We're not limited to headsets which can only be used for exhibits. So definitely, we want to get as much the customer submissions as possible, and we want to be compatible with their content. Yeah, so that's the next phase for us.
Yeah, I'm always interested in this idea of user-generated content and, you know, audiences making work, you know, being part of that creative process. But maybe you could talk to us about what interesting developments you look forward to in the immersive technology space. You know, I mean, like, big picture, throw something out there and let's hear it.
Okay, what excites me, you know, I'm excited all the time. The headsets keep advancing, the cameras keep advancing. We're going into 2021, and it's like, okay, we have a fresh new slate. What direction are people taking? And for me, volumetric video would be the centerpiece of a lot of that. When I'm able to see the motion graphics that come through holographic capture, it's really like wow experiences. So as these volumetric setups become more affordable, and this can scale them down to the point where they're almost costing the same price as a DSLR. So instead of buying that Canon 5D that you're going to use to take pictures of musicians, why not take holographic impressions of musicians and show their fans, you know, and why not show them in a virtual reality headset? You know, that is how we should be working in 2021. We shouldn't be repeating the past or trying to bring back some nostalgia. We should be trying to bring through as much futurism and just entirely new ways of seeing things. And I see volumetric capture to be part of that. It's kind of undeniable, because when you're looking at the newest iPhone, what is the greatest thing about the iPhone 12 that wasn't there on the iPhone 11? It's this camera called the LiDAR. And they're incorporating LiDAR into iPads, and in fact, I've been using LiDAR with an iPad before it was in the iPad. You know, there's an extension. I didn't buy it. I was actually won a grant. So there's an extension called Occipital Structure Core. It's a scanner in which we can use to take 3D captures of people using an iPad camera. And this occipital scanner, it has infrared information built into it. So it takes ordinary pictures and mixes it with infrared information, and it creates a 3D model of a character. So now they're doing that built into the iPhone. So this volumetric, it's something which it will be just second nature to us in 3 to 5 years. You know, we'd be expecting it, but today we can barely pronounce the word. But in 3 to 5 years, we'll be expecting it. It will be enhancing our lives as a daily tool. So for me, I'm looking for those enhancements to come down to us and just be part of our daily lives. And as 5G comes out, it's going to come through with such a strong force, because we won't be using 5G for watching YouTube, because already 4G serves us. We won't be watching 8K on our mobile phones with 5G. What we'll be doing, we'll be having more immersive experiences. We'll be using things, we won't needing to be downloading apps. We'll just be running the app real time. We won't need 64 gigabytes of hard drive on our phone, because the phone will be served on the cloud. So the cloud computing and 5G, it blends really well with our immersive technology. Because at the moment, people might say, oh, your app is 105 megabytes. But how about if our app was streaming to your phone live and there's no need to download the app? So 5G and the emerging technology, it will just make things like volumetric and VR and AR more accessible. And the more we start acquiring this technology, the cheaper it becomes, because the scale increases and these things become cheaper. And then right now, most phones are 720p. In a year's time, 1080p is going to be the standard, and people will be loving our virtual reality experiences because their phones have caught up to the stage where it just runs everything really smoothly. So that's, for me, the most attractive part of technology moving forward would just be how this will be able to flow into our lives, rather than the stuttering nature of things right now, where download times and speeds and compatibility. So it will be more compatible as things speed up.
I love having these. Where do you see things in the future conversations, especially with creatives, because it's always such an exciting future, lots of things to look forward to. So yeah, that was well. So lastly, sometimes we have these really big picture conversations, and then we wrap it up by asking a fairly narrow question, which is, what can we look forward to from Hatchery 360? I mean, as you said, this year with all its ups and downs has offered unique opportunities, and so what can we look forward to in a year's time, in 5 years' time?
Yeah, so definitely you'll be seeing a lot more output from us in the arts and culture sector, which we want to make our spine. We want to make it our stronghold. So we can show a futuristic or current image of a lot of the arts and culture that's around us, and that establishes East Africa and Kenya and makes it unique with our amazing language of Swahili that I don't speak so well. But every time I hear a musician making a song, it helps me understand the culture a lot more. So if we can bring that through into a futuristic realm, definitely this is the way we want to be moving forward. The commercial work, it's a good direction to take, but it's not our spine, it's not our core, it's not what makes us the happiest. So the arts and culture, you'll be seeing a lot more collaborations from us, and the volumetric work will blow a lot of people. It will blow their minds. So we just want to see more exciting, explosive work that doesn't look like work, that just looks like great presentation. So we want to be seeing more people with virtual reality headsets in their hands, and as the technology grows, so it becomes more like your reading glasses. Your reading glasses is where virtual reality is moving into. If you watch Facebook conferences, Facebook own Oculus and they're the biggest virtual reality producers on the planet. They're not talking about virtual reality glasses, they're talking about augmented reality glasses. So once again, how can we be compatible with these augmented reality glasses? So things like volumetric make us completely compatible with the emerging technologies and emerging headsets. So you'll be seeing a lot of cool work and stuff that people will be asking us to be part of our projects, rather than right now we're hunting people to be part of our projects. They'll be asking us. So we just want to create a lot more work and a lot more experiences so that we can have larger teams working with us. We can start looking like a film studio. When you see a film production going on, you have your gaffer, you have your lighting guy, you have your audio technicians. We need similar teams working on us on set for 360 and for AR and volumetric captures. So yeah, we're just one of these. We're just in the area of expansion, and definitely as 5G grows, we'll be having a lot more demand for our tech. Yeah.
That's a really nice note for us to end on, actually. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's always great talking to people who are making new work and, trying out different things and uh, basically bringing some ideas to life in the world. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Nyambura. Thanks for being so interested in mobile virtual reality and the way we're moving forward with mobile experiences of AR and VR in East Africa. Thanks for being for allowing us to be part of Immersive Juakali. It's an amazing project. Okay.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. You have a great afternoon and great morning, and hope to meet you in person one day after all this ends.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.